Well, hello. Today, I want to help you recognize and overcome the patterns of self sabotage that may be holding you back and guide you towards a more fulfilling and authentic life. So, let's get started. A couple of weeks ago, I spoke a message on self worth. Well, I mentioned this because self-sabotage and self-worth are closely related in the way we perceive our value and how it can directly influence the choices that we make. When we have a low self-esteem, we may feel unworthy of success, of happiness, and even love. Yes, we may feel like we're not being loved the way that we desire to be loved, or we may feel that we're not receiving enough love. And as a result of this, we engage in self-sabotaging behaviors just to cope with the feelings. Self-sabotage refers to the unconscious or conscious behaviors, patterns, or choices that prevent us from reaching our full potential. It involves acting in ways that undermine our goals, relationships, and our overall well-being, even when we desire success and happiness. These behaviors are often rooted in negative beliefs about ourselves or a low self-worth. Self-sabotage and self-worth often create a cycle that impedes personal growth and fulfillment. So when we consider how self-sabotaging and self-worth are tied together, understand that at the heart of self-sabotaging lies a struggle with our own value. This speaks to unconscious beliefs that we have, the need to manage the feelings of inadequacy, and the desire to avoid emotional discomfort, often leading us to undermining our own success and our happiness. So let's start with unconscious beliefs. Self-sabotaging often stems from deep-rooted beliefs of being unworthy. They often develop during our childhood through experiences of criticism, neglect, or maybe even failure. Or it may even stem from experiences in relationships as we are adults, whether personal or professional. There is always going to be someone in our life somewhere that is going to not taunt you but criticize you. So when we deal with that type of self-sabotage and unconscious beliefs, we begin to create coping mechanisms for dealing with these feelings of inadequacy or fear. By undermining our own efforts, we may sense a lack of control over our emotions, even if it's ultimately detrimental to our well-being. And this leads us to avoiding discomfort. Striving for success, this can trigger discomfort, such as vulnerability. So sorry. Or maybe even fear of rejection. When you have low self-worth, you may sabotage your progress to avoid the emotional discomfort associated with trying and potential failing. Other connections between self-sabotage and self-worth include fear of failure, believing you are bound to fail. You may procrastinate or avoid opportunities to protect against feelings of inadequacy. But Philippians 4, 6, and 7, it says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard you and your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ." This right here encourages us to cast aside anxiety and fear, trusting that God will provide peace and guidance in times of uncertainty and challenges. Imposter syndrome is another one. You may feel undeserving of success. leading you to sabotage your progress as not to expose yourself as a fraud, although you may not be a fraud. I've had that syndrome, and sometimes I still lean towards that syndrome. I don't feel that anything I say or do is better or can't even be better than someone else that comes behind me and do it or say it. That kind of diminishes my self-worth because I'm sabotaging myself with that imposter syndrome. 2 Corinthians 10 and 12, it tells us we do not dare to classify or compare ourselves with someone or with others who commend themselves. I'm not trying to commend myself. I'm just trying to bring knowledge, understanding, and the Word of God to people who may need it, who may not know it, and may definitely desire it. I'm not trying to stand on a pedestal. I'm not trying to stand on a stage in front of millions and millions of people. When we measure ourselves by others and compare ourselves to others, we are not wise. This reminds us that comparing ourselves to others is unwise and that our worth is never defined by external standards or comparisons, but rather by our unique identity and our purpose. Perfectionism is another one. I never thought that I was perfect. I never tried to be perfect. But tying self-worth to flawlessness leads to over preparation or delay, which can paralyze our progress. Ecclesiastes 3:11 tells us He has made everything beautiful in its time. This should remind you that there is a time and a purpose for everything. We do not have to strive for perfection in every moment. We don't, because we are not perfect. Accepting the beauty in our imperfections allows us to appreciate the journey and the growth that comes from it. Rather than tying ourselves down by realistic expectations, let's look beyond it and let's hear what God said. He has made everything beautiful in its time. We have another one, fear of success. Who's afraid to succeed? You may think that not many people are afraid to succeed, but we self-sabotage ourselves when we are. So believing you don't deserve success or fearing added responsibilities, you may block your own achievements. In Jeremiah 29:11, it tells us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and to not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." What is that telling us? It's telling us that God has a positive plan for our lives. He has a plan for our lives, encouraging us to embrace opportunities and the success without fear. Trusting in His guidance can help alleviate anxiety about achieving our goals. We can't achieve them if we are afraid to reach out and grab them. Self-criticism. Focusing on flaws and past failures, leave that past behind. That only reinforces negative beliefs, and it leads to an inaction of harmful choices. Psalms 139:14 tells us, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." I love this verse and I say it a lot. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. What about you? See, this encourages me to recognize my inherent worth and my value as a creation of God. It reminds me to treat myself with kindness and grace rather than harsh self-criticism. When I look at it and I accept my uniqueness, this can help me develop a more positive self-image. So self-worth, it directly impacts how we view ourselves, and it can either empower us or it can lead us to self-sabotaging behaviors that undermine our potential. I do not like undermining my potential. I do not like it when others undermine my potential. So I'm not going to sit and I'm not going to undermine my potential. Now, understanding self-worth, you have to remember that self-perception shapes our choices. Your self-worth directly impacts the decisions that you make. I said that earlier. If you don't believe you deserve success, love, or happiness, you may unknowingly create obstacles that prevent you from achieving your goals. I said that earlier. Just to reiterate it, you are meant for more. The fear of success is rooted in a false belief that you're not worthy of your dreams, but you are. Your success does not take away from others. It doesn't. It magnifies your potential and it sets a path for others to follow. Let them follow you. Ephesians 3:20, it says, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." It highlights what God has great plans for us. He has plans, like it says, that we could not even imagine, far beyond what we can envision, encouraging us to embrace our potential. So stop fighting yourself. The voice that criticizes you is not your truth. It's not it's the echo of the past doubts. That's what it is. Those doubts that have you feeling as if you are not worthy. You are never meant to be perfect. You were not born to be perfect. You were not created to be perfect, only to be authentic. So stop fighting yourself and embrace the growth that comes from self-acceptance. Embrace it. Your value isn't conditional. It's not. God did not create us with conditions. Self-sabotaging happens when we tie our worth to external factors like success and approval. But the truth is, your worth is unconditional. You are valuable just because you exist. Have you ever had anyone ever tell you that you are valuable just because you exist? And no achievement or mistake can alter that. Isaiah 43:4, it says, "Since you are cherished and precious in my eyes, and because I love you dearly and want to honor you, I willingly give up nations in exchange for you, a man to save your life." This is saying to us, your worth comes from being loved by God, simply just because you exist. Simply because you exist. Just as simple as that. So how do we know if we are having self-sabotaging behaviors, or if we've had them, or if they are sneaking or creeping in on us? Self-sabotage often operates subtly, making it difficult for us to recognize. especially when they consistently hinder your growth or your success. Again, there's the procrastination. This looks like continually delaying tasks or using distractions or excuses to avoid responsibilities. Me and some laundry for 2 weeks. I delayed that task, ignoring it until I said, stop giving these excuses for putting away that laundry, and get up and put that laundry away. Procrastination. Negative self-talk. You are constantly doubting your abilities and focusing on your flaws. Stop it. We all have flaws. Everybody has flaws. Don't let someone tell you they don't, because they do. You may use internal dialogue like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this. Stop it, because you are good enough. You can do it. Overcommitting yourself. You're constantly saying yes to many, many things while leaving yourself too overwhelmed to focus on your own goals. You don't have to do, or you don't have to commit to everything that everybody asks you to do. You need to keep time aside for yourself. You have goals. You want to reach those goals. Stop saying yes to everybody and to everything. Avoidance behaviors. You are avoiding tasks, relationships, or situations that challenge your comfort zone. I get up in the morning because a certain situation challenges my comfort zone. I don't want to be there, but I have to be there for right now. So I'm going to stop the avoidance behavior because it's not working for me. It's not doing me any good. Then there's reluctance to ask for help. You struggle to seek support even when it's necessary, believing that asking for help is a sign of weakness. No. I was big on not wanting to ask anybody for help when I needed it, because I felt that when people came to me, I was able to help them. I did any and everything that I could within reason to help them. But when I needed that same help in return or something different, it was always no, I can't, no, I don't. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. So I came to the belief that me asking for help was a sign of weakness, and that I was not going to ask for that help anymore. If I didn't have it, couldn't get it, I was going to do without it, and I was not going to reach out for assistance. Whenever I need help with anything, I'm no longer reluctant to ask for it. If you can't, you can't, and I appreciate that. If you don't want to, you don't want to, and I appreciate that. I respect your boundaries. Then we have refusing opportunities. You turn down growth opportunities due to self-doubt, believing you're not ready even when you are qualified. I applied for a management position. I didn't believe I was qualified for it, but I applied for it anyway. And the HR rep looked over my resume and he said, "You are perfect for this job." But there were other situations that stood in the way of me getting that job. But I didn't dwell on it. I didn't. His no to me was a no, not now. It was not a no, not never. So I accepted that. Then we have people pleasing. You are constantly seeking approval from others, even at the expense of your own happiness and your own well-being. Stop people pleasing. If they cannot accept you the way that you are, they are undeserving of you. They are missing out. It is their loss, not yours. Stop people pleasing. Avoiding accountability. We have to take accountability for our own actions. No one makes us do the things that we do. They may try and attempt to contribute to it, but you are responsible for your own actions. You shy away from taking responsibility for your actions or blaming external factors for your mistakes. Those are your mistakes. You made them. Live up to them. Earn them. Take responsibility for your own actions. Be accountable for you and the things that you do. Not for what others do, but for what you do. Control what you can control. So then you ask, well, how can I break these cycles of self-sabotage? Well, let me tell you. First, you want to identify your triggers. Think about situations where you tend to self-sabotage. For example, procrastination, quitting projects, avoiding opportunities. You start a project, you get halfway through it, and you're done before it's even finished. That right there, those are triggers. Then you want to start tracking your habits. Keep a journal to document thoughts, emotions, and actions that lead to these self-sabotaging behaviors. Next, you want to address your limiting beliefs. Consider whether your fear of failure, fear of success, or low self-esteem is driving your behavior. What is driving your behavior? You don't want to succeed in the things that you do? Who doesn't want to succeed? You want to always fail? Who wants to always fail? Consider that. Consider whether those fears are driving your behavior. Then consider setting clear goals. Then break larger goals into smaller goals, smaller, more manageable steps to reduce the overwhelm. Again, you don't want to take on too much too fast, too soon, because you will overwhelm yourself. But you do want to break those goals down into smaller steps so that it does reduce that overwhelm. Then start building positive habits. Replace unhelpful behaviors with constructive ones. For example, if you are a procrastinator, set a timer for 10 minutes. Again, start small. Start small. Then last, embrace your imperfections. Allow yourself to take imperfect actions instead of waiting for that perfect moment. You may jump into something because God gave you something, or you heard something in your head that you thought was you. It was probably God, and you may start it. But then you get to a point where you say, oh, this is not right. This has to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't. And then don't wait for the perfect moment to start it. If he tells you to do something, do it now. Don't wait. It may not, it may go away. You may never get to do it. So here's a few things I want you to try. First, you can choose from either of these. I'm going to give you 3. You can choose from either of these activities, or you can do them all if you like. Just make sure that you make a habit of doing them every day. So the first one is to start a journal. The first one is to start a journal. In this journal, you want to make 2 columns. One column labeled negative thoughts, and then in the other column, you want to label that one balanced thoughts. You start with identifying a negative thought that your inner critic, not somebody else's, yours, frequently tells you especially the ones that affect your daily life or your decisions. Again, I'm going to say it again. The first column is labeled negative thoughts, and the second column is labeled balanced thoughts. Identify a negative thought that your inner critic frequently tells you, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not perfect, I don't know how to do this. And you want to focus on the ones that really affect your life and your decisions. Then you will write on the balanced side a more balanced and compassionate thought next to it. I'm not good enough. I am perfectly and wonderfully made. I can't do this. I can do anything that God sets in my path because I am perfect. Not perfect. I am not perfect. Forget that. I'm sorry. I can do anything that He sets in my path because He said I could. So you're going to write one set of these negative and these balanced thoughts 3 times a day. So you could do it once. You can do it in the morning when you get up after you pray and do your devotions. But pray and do your devotions. Then write down your negative thought and your positive. You can do it at lunchtime. Negative, positive. You can do it before you go to bed or in the evening when you get home from work. A negative and a positive. That's what you want to do. Okay? Then you want to keep track of all this because you're going to reflect on the negative thoughts that have held you back the most and how it has impacted your dreams and your relationships and your self-worth. And you're going to use those thoughts. Okay? This exercise is going to offer you a more empowering perspective on your life. Or you can try this one. You grab some sticky notes. I'm a sticky note person, or I have affirmations all over the place. So you grab sticky notes and some colorful markers or pencils, and every day you're going to write down a kind or encouraging thing that someone has said to you that made you feel valued. You put these where you can see them every day. Say the inside of a closet door, your bedroom closet door where all your clothes are hanging. Walk in that closet, you're going to open that door, and then you may not close yourself in the closet, but if you don't want anyone else to see them, you'll close the door, you go in, and you'll see those affirmations. Okay? You can put them on the walls around your desk at work. You can put them wherever you want. You'll do this as a reminder of your worth and how others see you or see your positive qualities. And then there's another one. You'll take a moment to identify the traits, experiences, or preferences that you embrace. So as well as those that you resist. So say it again. Take a moment to identify the traits, experiences, or preferences that you embrace, as well as those that you resist. This helps you build understanding and a better understanding of the balance of your self-identity. In your journal, make 2 columns that contain 2 sections each. So you're going to have section 1 with column, section 2, column, section 3, column. So you're going to have 3 sections with 2 columns each. In the first 2 sections, you'll label, let me see. Okay, yes. In the first section, label one column as habits I want to develop to improve my life. And in the second column, label it habits I struggle to break to improve my life. I'm sorry, let me say it again. The first column, label it Habits I want to develop to improve my life. In the second column, label it habits I struggle to break to improve my life. In section 2, you want to label your first column compliments I wish I received more often. And in the second column, you'll label it criticisms I struggle to accept. Okay? And in the third column, in the third section, you'll label your first column personal strengths I wish others knew about me. And in that second section, in that second column, you want to label that one weaknesses I fear others might notice in me. So in each section, you'll write 2 traits. So you got section 1 with the 2 columns. In the first column, you're going to write 2 traits. In the second column, you're going to write 2 traits. They can be traits, experiences, or preferences for each section. Then I need you to answer the following questions. Now you might want to rewind this so you can get these and write these down. The first question is going to be, in what situations have I compromised my values or self-respect to please others? The next, I'll repeat it. The first question is, in what situations have I compromised my values or self-respect to please others? The next question is, when was the last time I allowed someone to treat me in a way that I didn't deserve? When was the last time I allowed someone to treat me in a way that I didn't deserve? The next question is, why did I tolerate it? And what can I learn from that experience? Again, why did I tolerate it? And what can I learn from that experience? And then the last question is, what are the underlying beliefs I have about myself that led me to accept treatment that I don't deserve? Now, these are intentional steps. I need you to take intentional steps to set boundaries and goals from these questions and from these activities that align with who you want to become. If you want to be a better mom, I'm not saying that you're not a great mom, because every mom is a great mom, maybe. But if you want to better that aspect of your life, take these intentional steps. If you want to be a better wife, take these intentional steps. If you want to be a better leader, take these intentional steps. If you want to be a better mentor, take these intentional steps. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go and start mouthing off at everybody or rubbing somebody the wrong way, but I am saying to set boundaries to protect your values. Look back at each of those questions, answer those questions, and set boundaries around them to protect you. Okay? And remember, you are allowed to outgrow the versions of yourself that no longer serve you. Growth is the key to discovering your authentic self. So, this has been your Conscious Blessings for the day. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get life and meaning out of those activities that I provided you with today. So have a great day, and as always, be blessed and have a wonderful day on purpose. See you later.